Welcome to Wisdom Trek with Gramps. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, and we are on day 2435 of our trek. The purpose of Wisdom Trek is to create a legacy of wisdom, to seek out discernment and insights, and to boldly grow where few have chosen to grow before. In today's Wisdom Nugget, I'll guide you through the vast landscapes of biblical wisdom. Today we're diving into Psalm chapter 16, verses 1 through 6 from the New Living Translation. This psalm, attributed to David, is a beautiful expression of trust and confidence in God's protection and provision. As we read through these verses, we'll explore the themes of refuge, loyalty, joy, and inheritance. Let's embark on this journey together. Psalm chapter 16, verses 1 through 6. Keep me safe, O God, for I have come to you for refuge. I said to the Lord, You are my master. Every good thing I have comes from you. The godly people of the land are my true heroes. I take pleasure in them. Troubles multiply for those who chase after other gods. I will not take part in their sacrifices of blood or even speak the names of their gods. Lord, you alone are my inheritance, my cup of blessing. You guard all this as mine. The land you have given me is a pleasant land. What a wonderful inheritance. David begins his psalm with a heartfelt plea in verse 1. Keep me safe, O God, for I have come to you for refuge. This opening line sets the tone for the entire psalm, establishing the foundation of trust and dependence on God. David acknowledges his vulnerability and recognizes that true safety and security comes from seeking refuge in the Lord. This sentiment resonates with us today, reminding us that we can find shelter and protection in times of uncertainty and danger in God. The concept of refuge is not merely about physical safety. It encompasses spiritual and emotional security as well. When we turn to God, we find a sanctuary for our souls, a place where we are shielded from the storms of life. This assurance allows us to face challenges with confidence, knowing that we are under the care of a loving and powerful God. In verse 2, David declares, I said to the Lord, You are my master. Every good thing I have comes from you. This statement is a profound acknowledgment of God's sovereignty and generosity. By referring to God as his master, David is expressing his submission and devotion. He recognizes that all his blessings in his life are gifts from God. This verse invites us to reflect on our own lives and recognize God's hand in the good things that we experience. It's easy to take our blessings for granted or attribute them to our own efforts, but David's words remind us to give credit where it is due. Every good and perfect gift comes from above, and acknowledging this truth fosters a heart of gratitude and humility. David continues in verse 3, The godly people in the land are my true heroes. I take pleasure in them. Here David shifts his focus to the community of believers. He finds joy and inspiration in the company of those who live righteously. The godly people are his heroes, serving as examples of faith and integrity. This verse highlights the importance of surrounding ourselves with fellow believers who encourage and uplift us. In a world that often glorifies superficial values, it's refreshing to take pleasure in those who exemplify godliness. Being part of a faith community provides support, accountability, and inspiration, helping us to grow in our walk with God. In verse 4, David contrasts his devotion to God with the fate of those who chase after other gods. Troubles multiply for those who chase after other gods. I will not take part in their sacrifices of blood or even speak the names of their gods. David is resolute in his commitment to the one true God, refusing to engage in idolatry or participate in pagan rituals. This verse serves as a warning against the allure of false gods and the consequences of idolatry. In today's context, idolatry may not involve literal idols, but can manifest in various forms such as materialism, power, or pleasure. David's example encourages us to remain steadfast in our devotion to God, rejecting anything that seeks his place in our lives. Verses 5 and 6 form a beautiful declaration of trust and commitment. Lord, you alone are my inheritance, my cup of blessing. You guard all of this as mine. The land that you have given me is a pleasant land. What a wonderful inheritance. David acknowledges that God himself is his inheritance and blessing. He recognizes that all he has comes from God and is safeguarded by him. The imagery of inheritance and a cup of blessing speaks of the abundance and satisfaction found in God. Unlike earthly inheritance that can be temporary and uncertain, our inheritance in God is eternal and secure. David's words remind us that we will find fulfillment and joy in our relationship with God, knowing that he is our greatest treasure. The reference to the land being a pleasant land and a wonderful inheritance reflects commitment and gratitude for God's provisions. It's an invitation to appreciate the blessings that we have and to recognize the goodness of God's gifts in our lives. When we see our lives through the lens of God's provisions, we cultivate a heart of thanksgiving and joy. As we reflect on Psalm chapter 16, verses 1 through 6, several key lessons emerge that we can apply to our own lives. First, seek refuge in God. In times of trouble and uncertainty, turn to God for protection and security. He is our safe haven, offering peace and stability amidst life's challenges. Second, acknowledge God's sovereignty. Recognizing that every good thing in your life comes from God, cultivate a heart of gratitude and humility by acknowledging His generosity and sovereignty. Third, value godly community. Find joy and inspiration in the company and fellowship of other believers. Surround yourself with those who encourage and uplift you in your faith journey. Fourth, reject idolatry. Stay steadfast in your devotion to God, rejecting anything that seeks to take His place in your life. Beware of modern-day idols and prioritize your relationship with God. And fifth, embrace God as your inheritance. Find your fulfillment and joy in God, recognizing that He is your greatest treasure. Appreciate the blessings He has given you and cultivate a heart of contentment and gratitude. As we apply these lessons in our daily lives, we draw closer to God and reflect His character to those around us. Seeking refuge in God provides us with peace and stability in the midst of life's storms. Acknowledging God's sovereignty fosters gratitude and humility, and helping us to see that His hand is in every blessing. Valuing godly community strengthens our faith and encourages us to live righteously. Rejecting idolatry keeps our hearts aligned with God's purposes, preventing anything from taking His place. And embracing God as our inheritance reminds us of our true satisfaction and joy comes from our relationship with Him. As we conclude this exploration of Psalm chapter 16, verses 1 through 6, let's carry these lessons with us on our journey. Seek refuge in God, acknowledge His sovereignty, value your faith community, reject idolatry, and embrace God as your inheritance. By doing so, we align ourselves with the timeless wisdom of Psalms and live lives that are pleasing to God. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Wisdom Trek. May these highlights of Psalm chapter 16 inspire and strengthen you to continue on your trek through life. Until the next time, keep seeking God's wisdom, cherish each moment, and continue to make a positive impact on the world around you. And if you found this podcast insightful, please subscribe and leave us a review. Then encourage your friends and family to join us and come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. Thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, and most importantly, I am your friend as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal. As we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and create a great day every day. See you next time for more daily wisdom.